everyone, it's Dominique, and today I'm presenting Forbidden Island, a co-op strategy game for 2 to 4 players ages 10 and up. In the game, you and your teammates are scrambling across a slowly sinking island, trying to reach all the prized treasures before time runs out. You win together or you lose together, so teamwork and communication are essential. To set up, shuffle the island tiles and randomly place them in this diamond shape, with the full color side of the tiles facing up. Remember to leave small gaps between the tiles. Shuffle and place the blue flood cards to one side and the orange treasure deck on the other. Place the 4 treasures around the outside of the board. Draw the top 6 cards from the flood deck and place them, one at a time, face up next to the draw pile. For each card drawn, flip the corresponding island tile over to its flooded side, which is tinted blue. This is the island already beginning to sink. Each player randomly chooses an adventurer card, which will give them a special ability and indicate which color pawn they will be using for the game. Search the island for the tile with the same color pawn as your character, and place them on the tile as their starting place. It's okay if a player's starting tile is a flooded tile. Each player next gets 2 cards from the orange treasure deck, which they place face up in front of them. If someone gets a water rises card, shuffle it back into the deck and deal them a new one. Finally, set the water level. You can see that the game gives you some options for difficulty. The higher the starting point, the harder the game is. We suggest starting on novice for your first play. The goal of the game is to get all 4 treasures and the whole crew back to the helicopter on the Fool's Landing tile and be able to fly away with the use of a helicopter lift card. On a player's turn, they first take up to 3 actions. Their options are to move around the board towards the treasure tiles, shore up tiles that are sinking, pass treasure cards to their teammates, or capture treasures. Players can move up, down, left, or right. Each movement counts as 1 action. Shoring up means flipping a flooded tile back to the non-flooded side. Players can do this to tiles they are on or ones directly next to them. The 2 final actions require treasure cards. To be able to capture a treasure, the player who lands on the treasure tile needs to have 4 treasure cards of the corresponding treasure. If 2 players end up on the same tile, they can give 1 or more of their treasure cards to the other player. Each card given counts as 1 action. Keep in mind that there is a 5 card in hand limit, so players may need to discard cards to receive them from other players. Cards cannot be traded. Also, special action cards can't be given, but if you're forced to discard a special action card, you may use its special action before discarding it. Once a treasure is captured, the player discards all 4 treasure cards they have in their hand to complete the capture. Once a player is done taking their turn, they draw 2 cards from the treasure deck. This is the deck where you get the treasure cards and the all-important helicopter lift card essential to winning the game. However, this deck also contains the dreaded Waters Rise cards. When this card is drawn, play stops and the following 3 steps must be completed. First, move the water marker up 1. Second, take all the cards from the flood discard pile and shuffle them before placing them back face down on top of the flood deck. And third, discard the Waters Rise card. The final element to each player's turn is to draw flood cards, which similarly to the beginning of the game, causes the island to sink. The number of flood cards drawn corresponds to the water level on the meter. So in the beginning, 2 cards get flipped. But eventually, up to 5 new tiles will get flooded after each player's turn. Now keep in mind that the flooded cards get shuffled and returned to the draw pile regularly throughout the game. So if an already flooded tile gets its card drawn again, then that tile is considered sunk and it is removed from the game. Both the card and the tile are removed from play. As tiles are removed from the board, movement becomes more restricted, and there's also the risk of the location of one of the treasures being lost. Each treasure can be captured from one of 2 tiles, but if both of one treasure's tiles sink completely before the players were able to capture it, then the game is lost. If a player's pawn is on a tile that sinks completely, they're able to move to the adjacent tile, swimming. However, if there are no tiles available up, down, left, or right, the game is lost. The game can also be lost if Fool's Landing, the helicopter pad, is removed from the game. Forbidden Island has an impressive ability to get your heart racing because even though there is no timer, the sinking island and the disappearing tiles really create an intense sense of urgency and panic with each flip of a tile. Every game is different as the tiles are randomly arranged, and you can increase the challenge by starting with a higher water level. To get your copy of this great fast-paced co-op game, check out thecomichunter.net or visit your local Comic Hunter store. Happy gaming!